Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, yesterday we learned about how to handle context memory. Yeah? So, we learned one example with context memory. So, in the hooks, we discussed about how to manage memory for components we are learning, and to manage the memory for components. So we have used use state, one hook, another one is use context. So the use state, and let's see, one problem is there here. Yep. So use state and use context. These two hooks we learned. These are related to state because already use effect also you learned. But state related important hook is use state and use context. So what is context? Context uses context memory. Context memory means, what is context memory? The memory allocated for a parent component can be shared to the child components, right? So context memory allocates the data sharing, right? Next important, today we will see another one, that is a useReducer. Another important hook is useReducer. useReducer, what is the purpose and how to handle it, right? What is the purpose of useReducer hook? Offline, any HTML people are here? This is not HTML class. Your class is shifted to floor 1. Any HTML people offline? Yep. So let's see what is this useReducer. useReducer, how this works. Actually, useReducer have two types of range and capacity. First, we are learning at a basic level how it works in application. Then at a little complex how it works, both. Actually, what is useReducer and how it works and what is its responsibility. Every web application, you should know this concept also. Whenever you are developing application for web, actually we have a web application. This web application you can design in any technology, Java, .NET, PHP, Python, Node.js, all these. When you develop a web application, every web application have two important state memories. When application starts, when a web application starts, it will have every web application have a application memory. Every web application have application memory. And every application will have a session memory. Application memory, session memory. And already you saw you will have a context memory. Context memory is also available. It is common in every web technology. In future, when you learn Java, JSP, PHP, or Python, Django, web-related development, every web application you will come across with this concept. So, application memory, session memory, context memory. More are there, cache memories and everything. So here, application state, session state. What is application memory is, when application starts, the memory is allocated. The memory is allocated. When application starts, memory is allocated. And what is the purpose of this memory is, this memory is available up to application end. Till the application ends, this memory is available. This memory, session memory, will start when session starts. It will end when session ends. What is it? I will show you. Application, session, context. Context we know. When page starts, the context memory starts. When the page ends, the context ends. So what is application and a session? Let's see these 2 points. Actually, what happens is, so we have users. So we are having a user. Generally, we have users who are using our application. These are the clients who are using our application. When when your web application starts, actually your application starts. When your application starts, this application memory is allocated. This application memory is allocated. So the application memory is allocated when application starts. When the application starts, it is allocated. Now, what happens is, when application ends, the memory ends. The memory is going to end. When application ends, the memory ends. When any session starts, some problem here. Some problem is there. It's 1 second, online people will connect once system is slow. Okay. So here, when application starts, usually the application memory is allocated. Now what happens is whenever one user connects, a session memory is allocated. That means for every user, a memory is allocated. This memory is available only for that user. For every user, whenever any user connects, for every user, it will maintain an individual session. For every user, it will maintain an individual session. Actually, this memory is which memory? Session. So what is the scope of session? Once user ends, automatically session ends. The values that are stored, in one session, they are not accessible to another. That means every session is independent and individual for a user. Suppose you logged in, a session is maintained for you, and you have to access the values of your session. Once you close the session, session ends. Now, what happened in previous session for previous user? This is not accessible to this. That is not accessible to another session. So, for every user, one session is maintained. What is the scope of session? It is available from session start to session end. There is another memory. What is that memory? Application memory. This application memory, the application memory is accessible to all sessions. That means everybody is using that application memory is available to all sessions. That means in application memory, you can store something which can be viewed by every session. For every user, one session is maintained. For every application, one application memory is maintained. What is difference? Session memory is allocated when a session starts and it ends when the session ends. User login to user logout, that is one session. And whatever that user does, it is not known to others because every user have his individual session. But one memory is available in our application in such a way that is accessible to all sessions. For example, I will show you the point. That means, for example, what is the concept? The concept is, suppose you are using YouTube. When you are using YouTube, you log in into your YouTube account. When you log in into YouTube account, it will show you your activity. Previously, what videos you watched, and it will recommend you the videos according to your requirements and all. Huh? It will do that. What is the point is, you are watching some video. In that video, you will find views, you will find likes, you will find comments option. What is interesting in this concept is, one second. Yep. Okay, let's continue. So here, what is the concept of application is you are watching a video and somebody logged in into his account and he posted a comment about that video. You can also watch it. Somebody liked that video. You can see the like count increase. Am I right? From his session, he is liking a video. How you can see it? He logged in into his account and he is liking a video. How you can see that like? How you can see that comment? Can you see what videos he is watching? Another user? No, but you can see what that he liked the video same that you have liked. Am I right? That means some data is globally available to all. Some data is globally available to all. Globally available to all means what? Everyone can view it. That means some data is only for a user and some data is across all users. That means what memory is allocated in such a way that the memory is accessible to all sessions. That memory is called as, we call that memory as application memory. Every web application has session and every application have application. What is the scope of session? From session start to session end. What is scope of application? Application start to application end. Now, can you tell me when the likes counter will stop? That means people are liking the video, people are commenting the video. When it will stop? Until they turn off comments or until the video is removed. That means if video is not removed, the continuous view count will be increasing, the continuous like count is increasing. That means when it will stop? When your application stops. That means you remove the video, then it will stop. Otherwise, it will be continuing for all users. That means what one user is doing, it is visible to other user. How this is possible? That is possible by maintaining data in one memory. What is that memory called as? Application memory. And that is what useReducer can do. useReducer can maintain an application memory for you. Application state, it can maintain an application state for you. Application state, application memory for you. What is the purpose of this application memory? It is accessible to all users. It will maintain data which is accessible to all sessions. From one session to another, it is accessible to all sessions. That is what actually application state. useReducer is responsible for using application state, but it is not responsible for creating that state. Again, problem same like previous. What is our previous problem? Use context is using context, but it is not creating context. We have to create the context and we have to use the context. So technically, what is useReducer? How it is implemented, we will see. Here one problem is that useReducer uses application memory. The major drawback of application memory is developers cannot easily debug it. Application memory developers cannot easily debug. That means it is always a headache for developer. He is unable to identify what is being stored in the memory. He is unable to identify when it is updated in the memory. Developers cannot debug it. It is very difficult to debug such memory. Application memory is not easy to debug. It is not easy to test. It is not easy to predict. That means developers always face the problem with application memory. To overcome these problems, so there is a third party library. That third party library you can use as an alternative to this useReducer. That third party library is called as Redux. The third party library is called Redux. So generally React JS, Angular JS or Vue or any JavaScript technology can use this Redux. Many people don't know that. Many people when join React, they will ask like, will you teach Redux in React? That's like a general joke actually. Why? Because Redux is a ordinary JavaScript library used in every JavaScript app. And many people don't know how to use it in their JavaScript. And suddenly they attend batches like React, Angular, they start learning these technologies and they think that Redux is a part of React, Redux is a part of JavaScript, is a part of Angular. But Redux is a very ordinary JavaScript library. Unfortunately, people don't learn such libraries in JavaScript. They don't know at all. And they think and they relate everything with whatever they are learning advanced. That means they want everything to learn with React, but they are all JavaScript libraries. They are all JavaScript libraries. So what is this Redux library? Later you will learn, because first we will use its minimized version. What is Reducer? Reducer is same like Redux, but with limited features. If you want more features, more advanced, with more facilities, then you can go with what? Redux. We are going to learn it, how to use it, but don't ever relate it with React. It is an ordinary JavaScript library. And what is speciality of this library is, it will provide you a predictable global state. Predictable global state means a developer can easily know where what kind of information is being stored and how that information is being transferred to all sessions. When it is being updated, he can easily debug it, he can easily predict it. For that, at higher level, to implement in large scale projects, we have a library called Redux. Redux is not related to React. Redux is a JavaScript library. Ordinary JavaScript also can use this Redux. Later you will learn about it. You can see actually there is a library Redux. This is Redux. And see what is Redux. What is the concept of Redux? It is a JavaScript library for what? Predictable and maintainable what state? Global state. Global state means application state. And anywhere are they saying that it is related to React? No. Right? So this is one general thing. Actually, people who don't know proper technology, they link everything with what they are learning. That means they think that all these are built for React.js. All these are built for AngularJS. But actually they don't know that these are all ordinary JavaScript things which many people use without React Angular. Right? So if they don't know how to use in general JavaScript, they will always link with their technology and they think that it is a part of that technology. Right? 99% every person who start learning React, first he will ask this question like, will you teach Redux? That means by that question itself, we can understand that he don't know proper JavaScript first. Why? Because in JavaScript, there are very important libraries which in real time we use for handling different situations. And this is very popular library for JavaScript for maintaining a global state. For global state. In ordinary JavaScript, we use it regularly. People who don't know that, they want to learn it with React. Actually, it is not for React. It is ordinary JavaScript. You can use in React, you can use in Angular, any JavaScript technology can use it. So I will show you how to use it in our React. How do we work with that React? But as of now, we don't need this library. This library is required at large scale. You are building a large scale application. There you want to maintain a global state. You want to predict the state. You want to test, debug the state. You see what features they give. They say that it is predictable. They say that it is centralized. It is easily debuggable. It is flexible. These are all the features of that. You are going to learn how to use this Redux. You are going to learn in an application we will implement. But actually, you should know that this Redux is not required at a smaller scale. At smaller scale, when you are developing a React application and working with React application, without Redux also, you can maintain a global state. And that is possible by a new hook they introduced into React.js, and that hook name is what? useReducer. useReducer is a replica of Redux. At large scale we use Redux, at smaller scale we use what? useReducer. So let's see how to use useReducer. Later you will learn about the Redux, right? So what is useReducer? So the key points you need to know here. So every web application uses a global state, which is known as application state. Every web application uses a global state, which is known as application state, which is known as application state. It allows to store data. It allows to store data and make it available from application start to end. From application start to end. So application state is accessible to all sessions. Is accessible to all sessions. So it is difficult. It is difficult to debug and predict application memory. Application memory. useReducer hook provides access to application memory. Provides access to application memory, which is predictable and debuggable. So which is predictable and debuggable. predictable and debuggable. You can use JavaScript library. You can use JavaScript library Redux to configure and implement global state in large scale applications. In large scale applications. In large scale applications. So reducer is going to use the global state. And remember, this reducer is going to use the global state, but it is not going to create the global state. We have to create a global state and use it. Redux, we will learn later. In a small application, we will design one application. In that, we will implement that Redux with all the tools what it is having. Now, you don't need Redux at a smaller level. In a simple application with simple data you are maintaining, you don't need Redux like library. The same thing you can do with reducer. How this reducer works and what are the reducer related components? Let's see how this reducer is going to work. Actually, reducer contains some important, you need to understand a small cycle. Actually, you have a store and you have a state and you have the UI. That is nothing but the component UI, user interface. So the state and the component UI we are having. Okay. So we have another one is reducer. This is reducer. So what is the point is, store is the location where the data is kept. That means every application state have a store. Store is the location where we keep the data. That means data is kept in the store. We have to access the data and use in component. In the component, we have to use that data which is in the store. Now what happens is, the data from store is picked up by using state. By using state, we pick up the data and we send the data to the component. That means whatever data is present in the store, it is picked up by using a state, and that state will send the data to the user interface. That means the user can watch the data. Now suppose any modification he is doing in the data. As I told you, a video have likes. Where the likes are stored? So the likes are stored in the store. And initially likes is 2. That means there are 2 likes in the store. Now this comes through the state, and here in the user interface, in the UI, User can watch that. The likes are how many? The likes are how many? 2. That means the user can watch that the video have 2 likes. Here what he done is, so he clicked a like button, then like is increased with 1. Am I right? Likes plus 1. When he clicked the like button, automatically like is increased. When like is increased, when it is clicked, when the value is increased, what happened to the data in the UI? It is identified by reducer. What reducer will do is, reducer identifies that there is some change in the data. When it changed, when user clicked the like button, what it changed? The data is increased by 1. It identifies the changes and update these changes into the store. What reducer is going to do? It is going to collect the changes and update the changes to the store. That means now in the store, the likes counter is not 2. What is it now? The likes counter is how much? 3. The likes counter is 3. That means the data is kept in a store. The data is collected from the store and it is sent to UI through a state. In the UI, if any modification happening in the data, it is identified and it is updated back to the store. This is actually one part of your concept. Now, generally, this is the component UI that a user is watching. That means user 1, he is watching it. That means one user is watching this data and he is liking it and it is updated into the store. In another point, what happens is actually there will be a state. You have component UI. So we have component UI and we have a state, the component UI, and we have a state. And we also have a reducer here. And what is the point is, actually this person is user 2. That person is user 2. Now user 2 can watch the same what the user 1 is watching. Here also the same cycle happens. Am I right? Now what is the point? When user 2 likes the video, can user 1 watch it? When user 2 likes the video, is it visible to user 1? Yes. How? How it is visible to user 1? Because whatever the like he have made, that like is in global store na? And that global store is already accessed by the user 1. That means actually this store is the global store. This is the global store. And this global store is accessible to all users. All users. That means the data is available to everyone. The data is available to everyone and everyone can view it. So everyone can view it. And it is actually, this is the basic cycle how it happens. That is the basic cycle how it happens. That means we maintain a global store. We maintain some data in it. It is visible to every user. Now I told you about YouTube videos and all. The same thing everywhere actually. Do you know, for example, you are booking tickets for a train, bus or a flight or a movie. Have you observed in the seat layout, you are selecting 2 seats. when you are selecting two seats, do you know those two seats are blocked for other users? At the same time, another person is watching that ticket booking. He will see that those two seats are blocked for 5-10 minutes until you finish the transaction. Am I right? What seats I selected, how that user can see? He see that those two seats are already selected by somebody, but he don't know who selected it. Am I right? Right? He don't know who selected it, but he knows that those two seats are selected. That means everyone can see that your seats are being selected. How this is possible? That means you logged in with your account ID and password. You are selecting some seats. How those seats are visible to others? That they are already selected or booked. That means they are all application memory. That means they are maintained in an application memory so that they are visible to all. Everywhere there is application memory. Every ticket booking, whatever you see, the data they maintain is at application level so that everyone can see. And everyone can handle the same. That means you booked two tickets, two are blocked. Another person selected more two tickets, those two are blocked. That is the concept of global state. That means what user 1 is doing, user 2 can see it. So, but he cannot see everything what user 1 is doing. Only the likes only he can see. Right? Only that memory is allocated in such a way that it is accessible to all. So, Redux contains three important components. One is store, another one state, another one reducer. Three important components. What is store? Store is the location where data is kept. And how the data can be viewed in a component? User can view the data in a component by using what? State. By using state, he can access and he can see it. How it is updated into the store again? It is updated into the store again by using what? Reduce. What reducer do is, it will identify what changes he is making, when it is changed, and it will update the changes into the store. This store is in global in such a way that it is visible to all. This is the concept of application state. At a smaller level, this is enough. We can just use useReducer and implement. But in large scale projects, you need multiple global store data, large amount of data. You need more security. You need more features to debug and test. Then useReducer is not enough. Then what we plan to do is we use a third party library which provides more facilities. So in the modern generation, it is not required to use Redux every time. Right? So it is required to use Redux only at a large scale when we are maintaining lot of application state. So Redux is not related to React.js. Redux is a JavaScript library for maintaining global state. Any JavaScript technology can use it. But every JavaScript technology, to use it, it needs a different approach. Angular people needs a different approach, and React people need a different approach. In ordinary JavaScript, different approach, but concept is same, right? Let's see how this works practically, right? So what is the point now here? So reducer reducer requires following components. Reducer requires following components. One is store, another one is state, another one is UI, and is reducer. So Store is the location where data is kept. Store is the location where data is kept. State allows to access data from store and update into UI and display in UI. State allows to access data from store and display in UI. UI refers to component user interface where we use the data, where we use the global data. Reducer identifies the actions performed on data and updates into store. Identifies the actions performed on data and updates into store. This cycle repeats. That cycle repeats. So this is a simple diagram I will upload into the class. So this is just to understand the process, the cycle. Later, remember, if you can understand this process, then only you can understand Redux. Redux also same concept. Only the point is in Redux, the same thing you will do, but at a large level. That means you will have some more features. You have clean separation so that you can easily test, you can easily debug. Remember, Redux is not a feature for a user. Redux is a feature for developer. So that means what Redux is saying, it is saying that I am easy to debug. Who will debug? User will not debug. A developer will debug. It says that it is easy to predict. Who will predict? A user don't need to predict the data. He just need to use it. Developer needs. That means for developer facilities, these all are designed. These are all for developers facilities so that they can easily develop by testing it, by maintaining it, and identifying the issues in it at a larger scale, right? So let's see how this works. Now to do this, actually, there are so many steps. Let's see the implementation, how to do, right? Implementation. Let's see how we implement this. First point is you have to create initial state. Create initial state that refers to store. Create initial state that refers to store. For example, we want to just maintain something like likes video, like this, or somebody is, you see, best example is somebody is going live on Instagram or going live on YouTube or Facebook. What you will observe is when he goes live, automatically views count will be there. How many people are viewing it? And you will see that the view count increasing, decreasing. The best example you can see our online class. In online class, I can I can see how many participants are there, who is joining, who is coming out, going out. And it is not only me, everyone can see who is joining, who is exiting, right? That means we are maintaining a list globally. We are knowing who is joining, who is exiting. It is visible to everybody. It is visible to everybody. So technically, some information, do you know, we can even know whether he is in mute mode or unmute mode. That means we can maintain a lot of details. We can track everything about the user, or we can track only limited from the user. Depends on the requirements. So we need to create a initial state that refers to the store, right? Okay, so here what we will do is how to create the initial state. LET initial state. It is an object. In this object, actually store is an object with key and value. Whatever you want to store, you can store as a key with reference of value. That means store is an object. Technically, store is an object with key and value. In the store, you can define the key and you can put a value. You can create multiple keys and values. You can maintain multiple keys and values. Now, important is what can be the value. The value can be any type. This can be any type. Value can be any type. It can be a number, string, boolean, array, object, anything it can be. You can store any kind of data in the memory, but memory is stored in the form of an object. So first step, you have to create an initial state and you have to tell what data you want to store. For example, I want to design something like live video watching. Suppose we are broadcasting some video and we want to know how many people are currently watching. One user will log in and he will join. When he joins, I need to know the count. One person is viewing. Two people are viewing. We need to know that. Then what you can do, you can maintain an initial state, right? So first, this is just only syntax. We will implement with example now. We have to first create initial state. After that, second, what is the job of reducer? We have useReducer. useReducer will use a reducer, but you have to create a reducer now. That means what we have to do, second step, create a reducer function to identify the action, and update the data. Create a reducer function to identify the action and update the data. We have to create a reducer function. We have to create a function called reducer. It will use a state and action. And we have a switch. Into that we identify action type. And we need to write a case. So suppose the type 1, then what actions to do? Then you put a break. That depends. So like this, you have to define some action. Actually, this action is nothing but this action is updating the data into store. Updating the data into store. That is the action we need to configure. Reducer contains the state and action. What is the purpose of state? To carry the data and display in UI. Action indicates when it is updated, when the data is updated. Suppose on button click, on drop down change. So when it is updated, we need to configure the action. For example, we have two actions for a live video. One is join, another one is exit. When user join, then count should increase. When user exit, the count should decrease. So we need two types of actions now. One action is exit, another action is join. User will maintain two, so exit and join. Okay, right. This is reducer. Now first we need to create an initial state and you need to create a reducer. This reducer is used by your components. That means next point, components use the reducer function by using useReducer hook, by using useReducer hook. So actually you have a constant, you have a state and dispatch is equal to useReducer. We have a reducer and initial state. useReducer uses a reducer function and the state. This reducer is referring to the reducer function name. Which reducer function it should use? Initial state will collect the state. It will collect the state. And that state you can access and update here. You can access the state and use the state. So state is used to collect the data from the store and show the data here. That means in our component, we can watch the data using what? State. We can send the updated information using what? Dispatch. Using dispatch, we can send the updated information to reducer. Reducer will collect the data and update the data into the store. It is going to update into the store. So reducer and dispatch. Actually, what dispatch will do? Dispatch actually will use the type as the action name. That means on that action, what should happen, it will tell. So this type is referring to the case. What is your case? Here we will send the action type. Based on that, it will send an action name. If action name is matching, it will do that particular work. On another action name, it will do another work. Let's implement this. This is just only process, the basic process. Let's implement this, how it works, right? So we will create here, we will create one simple interface in the components reducer demo. Reducer demo.jsx. So here we have export function reducer demo, return, and have container fluid here. I will just implement a simple mechanism like, so class card margin top 4 W50. Okay. In this, I will keep an div class as card header. Card header is there. In this, I am using an iframe. Iframe, yeah. You know, iframe width is 100%. Okay. Height is some 300. Okay, 100%. Fine. And actually, in JavaScript and HTML, you learned how to embed YouTube videos, na? Right. So in HTML, you know how to embed YouTube videos. I will embed an YouTube video into a HTML page. You learned how to use iframes, right? I will select some video. I will copy this video code. This is the video code actually at the top. I will copy the video code. Okay, let's go to the project. And here iframe src. Okay, iframe src is https://www.youtube.com/embed/ the video code we copied. You know how to embed a YouTube video into HTML. In HTML, you learned about this, iframes and all. That is the card header, and we will put a card body. Card body. Okay. In the card body, so here I'll say some core Java streaming live, something like this. And here we will put a card footer. Card footer. In the card footer, we will use the buttons. Class bi door open. So this is like join. So btn and btn some warning, that is join. We have another class name bi door door close door closed. Okay. And btn and btn danger. mx2. Okay. That's fine. This is exit. Now this is text center. Okay. This is also text center. Fine. I will keep in the startup. This is reducer demo. And actually it is showing the reducer demo. Okay, this is the option we are having. That means what we are doing, we are embedding a YouTube video there. In HTML, you can embed YouTube videos using iframes, you know that. Huh? So we embedded a YouTube video, directly the video plays here. The video plays here, right? Okay, now what we need to do here, when user joins, I need to keep the count, how many people are watching it. That means how many people are viewing it. And that should be known to everybody. Others also should watch it. That means I will give some heading 5. So here I will put an empty. So we will put as viewers. Okay, like this we will keep. So viewers are viewing, something like this we can keep. So span class bi. Okay, this is what we need to show there. Their count should be updated. Initially, it will start with 0, join, exit. Based on that, it will be incremented or decremented. Okay. Now what happens is, remember, because still we haven't learned routing and all, everything we are designing in one screen. Actually, two users are using our application in two different windows, and they can join from one window, it will update in another place, they join in another, they will update in another, like that. So initially we need to maintain viewers count. That viewers count must be global. How many people are currently watching this video? It should be global so that everyone can see it. So what we will do now? For that, first, how to maintain the state? First step, you have to create a global state, initial state. It is an object. In that, what we want to do is, we want to maintain viewers count. We want to maintain viewers count. And viewers count is initially how much? 0. Viewers count is initially 0. You can have any kind of data. Who are those users? Their names also you can maintain in an array. That is very difficult. Difficult means you need database in the back end and you can do that. As of now, just how many viewers are watching, that count I need to maintain. So what is the data we are going to store globally? The data we are going to store globally is viewers count. Okay. Then you have to create a function called reducer. This function have two parameters. One is state, another one is action. Now, what you are expecting the action type. So that means I will use a switch. Into that we will pass action dot type. There are two action types. Case. One action type is join. Am I right? On join, what should happen? When anybody joins, then the viewers count should increase, na? So it should return an object. That object contains, what it contains? Viewers, right? Viewers count. It contains viewers count. And what we need to do, through this state, you can access this viewers count. That means what we can do by using state, we can access viewers count. So, and the viewers count should be increased by 1. That means how many viewers are already watching. We have to get that viewers count, and to that we should add 1, and we should finally store in this viewers count. Okay, that we have to do. And after that, I think you know you don't need a break because return itself is a jump now. Right. So what is the case? Another case. Case is what? Exit. On exit, what it should return? It should return an object which contains what? Viewers count. It contains viewers, and viewers count should be state dot what? Viewers count minus 1. It should decrease by 1. So that is the reducer have to do. That means when anybody clicks join button, join action, increase the count of users and store in the data. If anybody exits, then decrease the count and store in global. So our global state is ready. Do you know what we do in Redux? Redux also uses same, but in Redux, because it is in large scale and it supports testing, debugging and all, we maintain these in separate files. That means store a separate file. In that store file, only this will be there. We will maintain reducer separate file. In that only this reducer will be there. All we maintain in separate files and we synchronize and use them across application. So initially we are not using Redux. We are using a simple hook, useReducer. Now this component should use this reducer now. So it should use the reducer. So here we have to configure constant. We need two. One is state, another one is dispatch. We need to use reducer. Use reducer is expecting reducer function name. Reducer function name is reducer and it is expecting initial state. That's how you configure. Now you need two things. What is that? Through this state, you can access what is in initial state. In initial state, what is present? In initial state, we have a users count. Na? In initial state, we have viewers count. You can access that and display here. Here I want to display. I will use what? State. State dot viewers count is available. And the viewers count is currently, you can see it is 0. That means the viewers count is currently 0. 0 viewers are there. Now when I click on join button, I have to send the message saying that one user joined. Then this count should update now. That means what we have to do, we have to write a function. What is the function join click? On join click, what to do is we need to dispatch. We need to dispatch action type. What is the action type? We have to dispatch the action type. Type is two types, na? Join, another one is exit. So on join click, which option we have to send join? That means when I dispatch this join, what happens is reducer will take this join and reducer will send that join to here. It will collect that the action is join. On join, what it will do? It will increase the count by 1 and it will store in the global store. And we need another one. What is the function? Another one is exit click. On exit click, what to do? We have to dispatch type. Type as what? Exit. In the case exactly what it is expecting, you have to define, right? Now two actions are expected in the UI. One is join, another exit. Now this should work on this button click. On click, what is it? Join click. Here on click, what it is? On click, what it is? Exit click. We have to handle this. And remember, actually, for a developer, this is fine now. And you see, when I click on join, that means viewer count increase. I'm clicking on join, another viewer is increased. I'm showing only in one place, but actually people will log in from different machines. We don't have any network now, right? If it is live and many people are watching this, they click like at one place, all others can watch it. That means this count is visible to everyone. When you click on join, then another user is there. And when I click on exit, one user exits, another exits. Right now 0 are watching. We can write lot of conditions. If it is -1, then you have to set it to again 0. That's basic logics we need to write. Initially, this is the concept of Redux. That means actually this is stored in a global memory. And from the global memory, we are able to access anywhere. I'm just accessing in only one component in one machine. Many people in many machine, they log in and they can access this, and for all of them count is same. You are liking, you are joining, and another person also can see that how many people are joining, how many people are watching. So this we can maintain here. And remember, whenever you click join, you can add more functionality. What you do when user clicks join, put a pop-up. In the pop-up, ask username. He will enter the username and say okay. Then that username you store and put here a link. When user clicks on that link, he can see all the users who are watching. That means in the global store, I need to maintain, currently I am maintaining viewers count na. Not only that, I can also maintain viewers list. I can also maintain viewers list. How viewers list? It is an array. I can maintain viewers list. I will just give you a hint. You can try that, right? You see, suppose here we are expecting one more. What is it? Viewers. Viewers what? List. It is what type? Array. Now what should happen here? The return is shown like this. Now you need multiple functionalities to happen. It should return the viewers count and it should return one more also. What is it? Second one. It is an object na. Object return one more functionality. What is that functionality? Viewers list na. Viewers list. Viewers list is an array na. Into array, how you can add any item? So we can use which method? Push. By using push method, you can push an item. That means you can push the user. That means actually user will come from the state. State dot user username, something like this. This we will implement in large scale. Later in Redux, I will show you how to implement these kind of things. We can add anything we can add, right? Because our example is not matching for that. Our example is just maintaining only count. Later you can maintain this also. I will show you. In Redux, we will maintain multiple. But first, you should able to try a small example like this. Then we can go with complex. So what is the concept of reducer? And remember, actually developers to test these, you see in my extensions, you see there is React developer tools are there. Redux developer tools also will be there. Usually what happens is I go to inspect. When I go to inspect, you can see in the inspect, when I select here, you see components, profile, Redux tools are present. Actually, this will work if I am using Redux, but actually I am not using Redux. I am using what? Reducer. So this Redux will store, it will show you what action being performed, what state is being maintained. It allows the developer to debug everything, track everything. This you will see in the next level because this is related to Redux. Actual what you have here is this is Redux. You see the components and you see the component have a cookies provider, reducer, and you see reducer, what data it is storing, what hook it is using, and you can see the hook. What is the hook? Reducer is having viewers count is how many? 3. It will track the component related data and it will show what data is present. You can get component, you can get profiler. Profiler is nothing but later I will tell you debugging and all because you are still not finished with learning. Once you learn and complete, you will learn about debugging, how a developer can debug, identify the problems. That means you see, I click on join, 4 is there and stop. It is going to record every activity you are doing. How much time it has taken for performing the action, how much time it taken for rendering, everything it will show detailedly. But these are not required now. Later you will learn about them, how to use, because it will show you the issues and everything here. Whatever issues are there and all. Actually, this component will show you the data. These are developer tools. Later I will show you how to install these tools and use them. As of now, you don't need to try that because later in debugging concept we will learn. That means I am showing you how developers can easily know what is happening. There is debugging tools. You can install them so that you can track what is happening, what data is being stored, when it is being updated, everything we can identify. So this is an application state at a smaller level. At large level, we have to implement a concept called what? Redux. That later we will see that. So initially, this you need to try. This is an example of reducer. So this is an example. What is it? Reducer demo dot what? JSX. That is reducer demo. How the reducer works. Now what you have learnt. So state related 3 hooks you have learnt. What are those 3 hooks? One is what? Use state. Another one is use context, another one is use reducer. What is use state? It maintains a state for a component and that state is accessible only to that component. It is not accessible to the child, it is not accessible to other. What is use context? It will maintain a state which is accessible to the components that run inside the component. Right inside the component, that is context. What is reducer? It maintains a state which is global and accessible to all components. From any component you can access and use. It is accessible to all sessions, global state. So a local state, a context state, and another one is reduce. You have learned local storage, session storage, cookies also. I showed you them, right? But this is very important related to hooks. Now we have more important hooks like use memo, you have like use reference, and you have like use callback. These are also related to memory management. That means in many interviews, they will ask you, tell me the list of hooks that are related to state management, memory management. All hooks are not related to memory management, but you have some hooks which are related to memory management. These are the major one. What is use memo, use reference, use callback, we will see later. In tomorrow session, we will do that, right? So you try this reducer. I will show you in a higher level using Redux also, how to do the same, right? First you try reducer. Tomorrow we will discuss about memo and callback. Reference already we learned now. While working with timeout functions and all, we used reference, use memo, use callback. How to use them, that we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we'll continue, okay? Remember, these are the major topics in React interviews. That means every React interview you attend, you will have to practically prove about Redux, reducers, memo, callback, reference. In every React interview, these questions are mandatory. Whatever React interviews you attend, these questions are compulsory. That's the reason you should know clear difference between them. When which state is required. Okay, then tomorrow we'll continue, right? Yeah.